Welcome to class. Happy Thursday. Today we're going to start in a child's pose. And since it's the first one, at least I was feeling that I was too stuck to even come into like a full child's pose. So here you can take your blanket and bring it in between your lower legs and upper legs if you want to sit on that and make some more room for your hips, around your ankles, and walking your body down so that you're laying over your thighs, and you can make a pillow with your hands or even bring a block under your head if you want to raise your head up a little bit more, giving yourself even more space. Or if you feel comfortable laying all the way down, as you wish, make your own choice. We're just settling into your space here, landing in this time, this world of ours, your own little bubble, landing in your body, landing in your breath, noticing what it's like today. Just listening to yourself for this moment. Noticing the speed and the pattern of your breath. And then start to walk your hands up so that you're sitting on your heels, coming into your Virasana position for a moment, closing your eyes in this seated position, finding your tall spine, head over shoulders over hips, and start to trace the shape of your spine. So we have these beautiful natural curves in our spine that goes in slightly at the neck, out at our upper back, and then in again at the lower back, around through our lumbar, and curls in right at the coccyx at the bottom of our spine. And then bring your focus to that line again, tracing it back up, feeling the wave, the curves of the spine. Now as you inhale, start to puff up through your chest to a little back bend and see how the rest of the spine responds. Exhaling, coming back to neutral, maybe curling back slightly, not really into a full curl yet. And puffing the chest up, seeing how the hips respond to this by arching back as well, so that the head and the tail want to come together. Now, puff up through the chest just a centimeter and try to curl the tailbone under at the same time, and see how that elongates the spine. So you're bringing the curves of the spine closer into the midline. And then relax back to just a natural spine. And then pull up again, slightly lifting the chest, curling the tailbone under a minute amount, so you're not really moving, you're just engaging your pelvis, and then let it go. Bring your hands in front of your knees so that you're making a diagonal with your spine now. First, just sink into it, see what you want to naturally do. And then start to feel as if there's a line down the spine, reaching out through the head, which encourages you to pull the shoulders back, pull the chest through. Start to push the back of the pelvis towards the front, and the front pulling to the back, and see if that lifts your pelvic floor slightly. And then let that go. And then again, finding length, engaging the whole core body, really feeling like your head can move forward up into space a couple inches, tailbone rooting down, and then the sides of the pelvis start to scoop up till our pelvic floor is engaged, and this is our mula bandha, which is the term that we use in the yoga practice of seal for our energy. So we're just engaging it and then letting it go. So just to give a little information subtly first, so if that doesn't settle with you, it's totally okay. So now walk your hands back, finding your tall spine. Inhale, reach your arms out to the side. Exhale, sweep your right arm under your left. Come into your eagle arms, coming with the palms together, backs of the palms together. Inhale, reach the hands up closer to the ceiling, lifting the elbows, coming into that slight back bend. Exhale, this time curling as far forward as you can, looking towards the tailbone, curling the pelvis under. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, curling and stretching the upper back. Inhale, up, lifting through the fingers, gentle in the neck. Exhale, curling, engaging the core, pulling the belly button in. And one more time, up. Exhaling, curling back in. Undo the bind of the arms, walk the hands forward into a tabletop. Here, I have two variations for a diaphragm stretch to feel our second bandha. So this is right at the diaphragm. So to stretch out our diaphragm, the first variation that's a little bit easier on the shoulders is just lowering your elbows right under the shoulders and then dropping the chest and the head down to the floor and letting the ribs splay open. So letting the organs fall into the upper cavity. Or if you'd like to stretch the arms and go a little bit deeper, you can rock back so that you can bring your forehead onto the floor between your hands and then extend your hands all the way, long arms out in front. So the whole arm is coming down onto the floor. The hips are still stacked over the knees into this puppy. So you're stretching into like a bow position, keeping it really soft for now. Seeing how your breath moves in this inversion. Breathing into your solar plexus. Lengthening the exhales here. Beautiful. If you're all the way down, walk your hands closer to your face so you can press your hips back. And then walk yourself up to your seat, spine tall. Rolling up. Inhale, arms to the side, this time sweeping the left arm under, coming back into our eagle bind. Finding our midline. Inhale, reach the arms up, slight back bend. Exhale, curling in. I like to close my eyes here too, as we're mapping our breath with our movement. Keep moving from one end to the next through our cat-cow spine. Gentle in the trap, so not pulling the shoulders up towards the ears, making sure you still have space there. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling, curling in. Spine stacking tall, unbinding the arms, walking back out. One more time, coming into that diaphragm stretch, either shoulders right on top of the elbows, or letting your head come all the way down and reaching your arms out. Breathing into the armpits. Feeling the weight of bone on top of bone, joint on top of joint for your lower legs so that your hip flexors are really relaxed. Let the floor support you. And then walk your hands back towards the center, lifting your chest up. And then if you have a prop, underneath your seat. You can remove that. Walk your hands back out, tuck your toes, lift your hips back up to a downward facing dog. You can pedal out for a moment if you wish, stretching the backs of the legs, and then try to find stillness. So now we want to knit in the front ribs, so the opposite feeling from what we just stretched. Finding the strength in the front body. Bending the knees so that you can lift the hips higher. Pressing down through all fingers of the hands, every side, the thumb, the joints. Take 3 deep breaths here, seeing if you can hold still. So a lot of times in class, I encourage falling into your habit so that you can find flow. But today I want to encourage sitting with stillness and seeing if uncomfortability comes up and how we react to that. So still make choices that are best for you. You know if you need to come out. But if not, see if it's just something that your mind and your body can work together to stay in. Find a breath through your chest, puffing your chest forward so that you can bring your gaze between your hands, and then start to walk to the top of your mat, coming to your forward fold. Letting your neck be super heavy, arms be super heavy. Finding your toes spread so that you're grounding and rooting down through the feet. Start to reach through the spine, lifting the head halfway lift, finding this parallel line to the floor. Exhale, drape back down over the legs. Take your whole inhale to hinge at the hips and stand all the way up, lifting the arms up to the sky. And take the whole exhale to lower the arms down by the sides. Inhale, sweep the arms back up to the sky. Exhale, bend down over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands with intention by the foot. Step the right foot back and lower the back knee, untucking the toes. See if you want to wiggle here. See if you can take any fidgets out. And any movement and adjustment you do, have it be super intentional. Pulling the right hip forward, pulling the left hip back, pulling the navel to the spine, keeping your full breath, big belly breath, width across the shoulders, looking out tall, long in the neck, soft in the jaw. And then tuck the back toes, step right back up to your forward fold. Halfway lift on an inhale. Exhale, back to Uttanasana, forward fold. Hinging at the hips all the way up. Urdhva Hastasana, reaching up to the sky. On your exhale, lower the hands down by the side. Tadasana. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands right where you think you need them, stepping the left foot back, lowering the knee, untucking the toes, keeping the hands on the floor for this first lunge so that you can stretch into the hip, so you can have more support from the ground. Still mapping the curves of the spine, the length of the spine. Finding your midline, finding your center, your middle of the middle. And keep breathing. Tuck the back toes, step back up to your forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, drape back over the legs. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, arms down by your side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend down to the floor. Halfway lift. Plant the hands down, step the right foot back, lower the knee. This time raise the arms up, sweeping them forward, and then finding that stacked tall, reaching the fingers directly above you. Shoulders down, front knee right over the ankle. Finding the structure in your hips of the right hip wrapping forward so that your back pinky toe is wrapping down towards the ground. Left hip is pulling back. And the legs are slightly pulling together, engaging the inner thighs so that our pelvic floor is slightly engaged too. And lower the hands back down to the ground. Tuck the back toes, step back up to your forward fold. Halfway lift. Moving with your own breath, so if your speed is different than mine, please stay with your own. Coming all the way up to standing, lowering the hands on the exhale. Inhale, sweeping them back up. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift on the inhale. Planting the hands, going onto the left side, stepping the left foot back, lowering the heel and tucking the toes. First, reaching the fingers long as if you can sweep them along the floor, reaching for something in front of you until you're so far forward that you end up on top of yourself. Do the same survey. Is your jaw relaxed? Is your neck relaxed? Is there energy through your fingers? Are you called to move anything out of habit? Bring intention to every movement, every choice. And through the simplicity, find the detail. The detail in the breath. And lower the hands back down to the foot. Tuck the back toes, step forward to your forward fold, halfway lift. Exhale, back down, forward fold. On your next inhale, reaching the arms all the way around, circling them down, hands by thighs. Inhale, arms come back up. Exhale, bend forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the right foot back, keep the knee up this time. Now start to walk your hands forward, reach your arms up, engage your core, reach so far forward that you start to lift your torso up. Finding yourself in your high lunge, pinkies wrapping towards each other, back legs slightly wrapping in, so that your right hip starts to track forward, pressing the heel up, shifting your weight a little bit deeper over the front knee, finding that right ankle at the joints of the knee and at the ankle, pulling the navel in. See if you can make your spine even taller, seeing what you find in the stillness. Find the full circumference of your lungs, breathing into your back body and your side body. And start to bloom up through the chest. Look up a couple inches. See if your fingers can reach back as your hips slide forward, bending deeper in the knee so that you can reach back into your crescent. And then lower the hands back down. Step back to the top of the mat, forward fold. Halfway lift on your inhale, pulling the shoulders down. Exhale back to your forward fold. Inhale all the way up. Hands come down on the exhale. Keep flowing. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, find the floor. The hands step back with the left foot. Make sure that you have some air in your tires so that your hips are in line with your shoulders at first. As you reach your arms to come in line with the ears, and then your fingers pull so much forward that you start to reach up, stacking the head over the shoulders, over the hips. sinking a little bit lower, lifting a little bit higher through the head and the hands. Grounding down, rooting down through the front foot, checking in with the back foot to make sure that your ankle isn't falling out to one side. Know that you're always doing the best that you can, and when you can do more, you will. So sit a little bit deeper, reach a little bit higher, breathe deeper. Let go of the tension around your heart, across your chest, widen your shoulders. And then lower your hands back down to the floor. Step forward, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, drop back down. Inhale, reach up to the sky. This time, dive right back down to the floor. Find both hands on the floor and step back to your downward facing dog, lifting your hips, bringing the weight back into your arms. Bending the knees so you can lift the hips higher. And then start to curl through the tailbone, so much so that it pushes your hips down towards the floor, rolling into your plank till your head comes in line with your spine, looking forward. Building strength here. Lift the hips back up to the sky. Exhale, roll forward back into plank. Now, if you have a block, this is a great place to bring it right in the middle of your mat on the second level as a barrier for your hips to make sure that you don't fall closer to the floor. If you don't have one, that's totally okay. You can just be aware of that space, super mindful that you're not arching into your lower back. So now we're going to roll between those positions, and if you care for it, we'll roll into an upward facing dog with the toes tucked under with a faster pace. So the point of this is to build heat with the breath. So the first option is just rolling, well, it's rolling forward and then a long spine as you pull back. Or when you roll forward, lift your chest through and then pushing back with a faster speed. So everyone can try the modification that you like, or you could even do a cat-cow. So just different variations on how your lower back is feeling. Trying to find a faster speed than you normally do. So not letting your breath dictate the speed, but letting your mind shape the breath, but keeping the body in time with it. Making sure that you're bending your knees in the down dog so that you have that spring. See if you can stay with it, stay with the heat, stay with your strength. Great. Really rolling the shoulders open in the upward facing dog. See if you can keep your hips up a little bit higher in the downward, in the upward facing dog. And then everyone lower your knees down to the ground, pull back to a child's pose. You can bring your hands around to a seed position, reaching for your heels if you want to rest your shoulders more. Notice how fast the heat dissipates. Notice the speed at which the breath changes. Bring your hands back out in front of you, pressing into the palms, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Lift the right foot and step between the hands, lower the left knee down. Coming into a kind of low lunge, but have your knee closer under your hip instead of falling forward, stretching the hip. So you're closer to a right angle with that back leg. Two options for the front hand. Either bring the right hand right next to the right foot, or turn the fingers all the way out to the side, flip the wrist, have the wrist in line with the heel, also right next to the inside of that foot. Make sure that your left knee is slightly off to the side from your right foot, so you have your railroad tracks, you're not trying to balance on one line. And then lift your left hand up off the ground, place it on your sacrum, on your low back. Check in that you're not already twisting into one hip. You're super flat here. You could balance something right on your back there. And now if you have your wrists twisted, or if you don't, imagine the wrapping out of the arm. From that wrapping out, start to open the shoulders to the left, pressing the arm into the leg into the arm actively. So here I even build up a bit of a shake because I'm pressing so hard, but still breathing. Only twist enough so that your back hand can stay in exactly the same spot. Don't let your neck try to do all the work, so you're twisting around the ribs. Still imagining that strong cord of your spine through the midline, through the center, and you're just wrapping around it. Pulling the right lung under the left lung. Pressing down with the top of the left foot. And then if you wish, you can open the left arm up to the sky. Trying to stack it right on top, so don't let it fall behind you to stretch into your pec. See if you can find breath across the collarbones and reach your hands away from one another. Are you still pressing your shoulder into your knee? Two more full breaths here. And then lower your left hand back to the ground, unflip the wrist, bringing it back in front, tucking the back toes, stepping to downward facing dog. 3 full breaths in this inversion. Mapping down the spine. Seeing how the curves react to this pose, finding more length. Knowing that there's still fluidity and a sense of curve through such an angular position. And when you finish those breaths, step your left foot up between the hands, lowering the right knee down. First, making sure that your ankle and your knee are in the correct relationship to each other on their own sides. And then deciding what you want to do with the left hand, either bringing it right next to the foot or flipping your wrist around so the ankle and the wrist are right next to each other. And then come into the balance of lifting the right hand off, placing it on your back. See if your head can reach further away from your hand. And then press the knee into the shoulder till your arm and your leg are fully engaged, and then start to gently move into this open twist. Letting the exhale help you deepen, looming your chest forward even more. And see what your core is doing. Let it help you here. So still breathing through the midsection, but hugging in. Make sure that your left hip hasn't dropped down to the floor. Let it stay on its own side, opening out wide. See if you can lift the right shoulder a little bit higher, and then if you wish, you can open up the arm, completing the line from hand to hand. Letting the fingers be a part of that as well, so don't stop the energy at the wrist. Keep the engagement. Don't miss it. And then lower the hand back around the foot. Tucking the back toes, stepping back to your downward facing dog. Finding 3 breaths once again in your stillness. Letting the breath bring more space through your joints, in between each bone. Take your right foot, step it up in between your front hands, seal the back heel down, and bring your arms all the way up, finding your warrior 2. So now opening up our hips. See how fast you can settle into the position. See what you already know. Be grateful for all the information that your body already has. And then make choices to deepen the position with intention. Softening around the heart and around the lungs so your arms can reach even further away. Softening so you can reach even further away. Deepening the bend in the front knee, engaging the inner thighs, pulling the legs together, deepening in the front knee. Softening in the heart, reaching the arms, staying in it. And then straighten the front leg. Reach the torso forward over the leg, coming into your triangle, dropping the right hand onto your leg or onto a prop, and finding the line of the left arm, completing the right. Letting the right femur root into the hip socket as the left slightly wraps forward. And then just bend the front knee, drop the hand, plant the hand around the foot, step back to downward facing dog. Step the left foot between the hands, seal the back heel down, come up to your warrior 2 on your left side. Find the stack of your spine, making sure that your ribs aren't falling over the left heel. Slightly pulling up your pelvic floor, dropping the shoulders, widening the collarbone, widening the scapula. Let everything slide out from the midline. Imagine your spine getting longer with the exhales. Pulling up through that back kneecap. Making sure the back leg is still super engaged. All of your limbs are with you here. One more deep breath, completing the exhale. Once you've completed that, extend the front leg. Reach the front hand forward, extending the torso of the leg, coming into Trikonasana. Stretching the inner thigh, stacking the right arm on top, feeling the slight inner wrap of the right leg. Pulling the tailbone back even more. And then bend the front leg. This time you can use your hands, but we're just gonna step up to our forward fold and then come into our chair right away. So drop your hips, lift your arms. Let's have our feet slightly apart here. Feel an anchor on your tailbone as the front of your pelvis pulls in towards that anchor. And then start to reach your hands so far forward that your torso comes parallel to the floor, bending your torso onto your thighs, pulling your hips back slightly. And then lift back up to your chair. Exhale, bend back down into this half chair and back up. So keep moving with your breath and check in with those same movements that we found in the child's pose on the floor. So we're curling our tailbone under and we're slightly arching through the spine just so we can come up, but our spine is still in one line. And then we let it fall back down, reaching through the sits bones, letting them widen back out when we come parallel to the floor. And then curling the tailbone under, but blooming up through the chest so we can look forward. And exhale, falling back down, hugging the transverse abdominals in. One more time, up to the chair. Exhale, folding forward. Bring your forearms onto your legs. So they're crossed here. You can measure off your ankles are about as wide as your forearm so that your shoulders are stacked right over your knees, right over your ankles. Open the right arm up, so leaving the left as that barrier, twisting open. Exhale, dropping the hand down to the floor. Squaring back off. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, dropping the hand. So flowing through this spiral, letting the arm give you feedback on what's happening with your legs. So not letting the knees slide side to side. The lower body is super strong. Could even sit a little bit lower. Breathe a little bit wider. So still softening around the heart, not just the front, but the back of the heart as well. So that our arm can come a little bit higher. Great, I love how everyone's going at their own speed. Really mapping with your rhythm of your breath. One more time, opening up and folding down. And then lift your hips up, let your hands fall down. Hang heavy in your forward fold. Let the effort from the legs dissipate. You can sway side to side, bending one knee and then the other. Feel how when you let go of the effort in your torso and your forward fold, your organs start to hang heavier into the cradle of your ribs, coming closer to your heart, to your lungs. And then bend your knees again, find the cross of the forearms. This time, firming down through the right arm, opening up through the left. Inhaling as you twist open. Exhaling as you drop the arm right under the shoulder. Opening the arm up to twist open. The feedback from the right arm can actually help you. You can kind of pull with the right hand so that your right shoulder comes more in between the legs, twisting around the midline of the spine. Can you sit a little bit deeper? Can you spread the feet further into the floor? Is it getting uncomfortable? That's okay. Can you stay with the uncomfortable feeling? The effort in the legs, strengthening in the back. Holding that lower shoulder in between the legs. Yeah, one more time. Take a full breath, full round. And once you complete that, hang back into your forward fold, lifting the hips higher. Great job. I know this can be a lot of effort in the legs. Walk your hands up your legs until you have a gentle bend in the knees and your hands are above your knees. So coming into this kind of squat, letting your body give its weight into the hands, straighten the elbows. And we're gonna try a pranayama practice with the Uddiyana bandha again. So the second bandha around the diaphragm. So that feeling of everything falling into the ribs when we first stretch that. So now a bit more active in the breath. On an exhale, let your belly fall down to the ground and then seal at your nostrils, but imagine that you're breathing in again and suck everything up around your heart. So I'll just demonstrate once because I can't do it and talk at the same time. And then when you have the call to breathe, just let it all go. So we're trying to hold it in. We're stretching the diaphragm up. We're making so much space in our lower abdominal space that it helps stretch the spine. So just try it and play around with it. And if you're not feeling it, one thing you can try is once you complete the exhale, so all the air is out, you can let your chest drop forward so you can let gravity help you pull everything up and then try to press down through the hands again and hold it up. And you can let your chin drop towards your chest so your head doesn't have to be involved at all here. And do it one more time, wherever you're at. Exhaling, holding the breath out, and then letting the diaphragm fly up. And when you have a call to breathe, just let your belly drop back down. Gorgeous. Walk your hands all the way up. Find your Tadasana. Close your eyes. Find your tall spine. See if anything has changed from that pranayama practice. If you feel more lift in your chest, it's okay if you don't. Sensing the connection between our diaphragm and our pelvic floor, which work in unison and synchronize with our breath. Then inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive over the legs. Walk yourself into a plank, finding the middle of your space. Curling the tailbone under, making sure that the chest is still opening up wide, looking in front of the hands, and then start to bend the elbows and lower yourself all the way down to the floor. You can find your chin or your forehead on the floor and reach your hands down by your side. So your hands are on the ground, fingers reaching towards your toes. On an inhale, start to lift your chest. engaging through the cords of the spine, reaching the hands back, maybe just along the ground at first. And then exhale, drop your chin and your forehead back down to the ground. Move through this a couple more times with your breath, trying to inhale on the way up, just lifting the chest, exhaling, lowering it back down. Still curling the abs in so that you're not rocking in the pelvis. Feeling the pinky toes wrapping down towards the ground, so feeling that slight inward rotation so your legs are really engaged. And then start to add the legs as well. So next time you inhale, lift the chest and the legs at the same time and try to stay up. But do 50% effort, so lower yourself down to the ground slightly. See if you can find a place that's sustainable, that you can hold, and start to map from your left shoulder to your right toe. And then the other diagonal as well, left toe to right shoulder, and pull those points apart. See if that helps you balance on your midpoint. Keep breathing. Lift up maybe 75%, and then let it all go back down to the ground. Lower one cheek, and rock your hips side to side. Let's do that one more time. Wrapping the toes down to the ground, engaging the core, and then reaching the arms back as the toes reach back, lifting the head in line with the spine, straight through the knees, reaching across the diagonals of your whole body, reaching those points apart from each other so that you can find the balance in the center. On your next exhale, increase the bend and try inhaling as you lower down, lowering the opposite cheek down to the ground. Find your hands under your shoulders and push back to child's pose. Roll up through the spine so that you're sitting on top of your heels, and then drop your heels to one side and just swing your legs out from underneath you so that you're sitting tall, sits bones on the earth this time, legs straight out, flexing through the toes, and then start to bend the knees and see how that rocks your sits bones forward. You're doing that a couple times, seeing if you can find this relationship to heels, to sits bones. And then leave a gentle bend in the knee, helping you find a taller spine. And then start to walk your hands forward, but only so that they can come under your calves. Tent your fingers up, so you're making little props with your hands, pressing the backs of your wrists into your legs so they can lift a little bit higher. Inhale, open up the chest, look forward. Exhale, fold forward. Bending in your knees, even if you're super flexible. Seeing if you can find a connection between your thigh and your chest. Stretching in your upper back. Feeling the femurs sinking into the hip sockets. Take your hands out from under your legs. Start to walk yourself up with your hands, chin to the chest coming up last. And let your head stack up, tall. Use your hands to pull your knees in, and then let them fall out to the sides so that you can seal the bottoms of your feet together, coming into your butterfly. You can hold on to your ankles, so that you can find width across the shoulders. Inhale, tall. Exhale, bend forward. Maybe walking your hands out. Your choice of how you want to fold here. Or if it's enough stretch just to sit up with the legs open. Again, checking in with the stillness, seeing how long we can stay in one place. There's a lot of effort even in a stretch or a position where we're closer to the ground. It takes more effort to stay present. So notice if you start to fidget, if you're playing with your feet or looking at the ground. Try to keep your attention on your body, on the sensations that are rising and falling. Now make a goal for yourself of how many more breaths you're going to stay in this position and try to complete that goal. So it could be 2 breaths, it could be 5, it could be 10, 15. Set that goal and stick to it. And whenever you've completed it, you can walk your hands back up. Take your hands on the outsides of your knees to help yourself fold them back in, and then extend your legs long. Roll yourself all the way onto the floor. If you feel called to do any last stretch, you can here. I'll give you one moment if you want to pull a leg in and twist it around, or maybe into a spiral. And then we'll all find our way into Shavasana. Letting the feet fall out to the sides, heavying down through the bones, letting the muscles slip away, falling further towards the earth. Seeing if you can still sense a space in your body that is center. That might mean something different to everybody. At some point that balances between sides. Even between the pull of the effort and the ease. Start to bring your attention back to your breath. Bringing your mind back into your body. Start to move whatever you're called to move first. Trust yourself in this process of moving from one extreme back into movement, into the fluidity of your day. When you're ready, you can make your way onto one side, folding into your fetal position first. Supporting your head. Feel the shift of blood here, and then feel that shift continue as you walk your hands around, coming into a full seat, letting your head come up last. Let's first find our hands on our thighs. And take one big collective breath as a group. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling through the mouth. Let's do that one more time. Bring your hands to heart center, palm to palm or palm over heart, and bow your head towards your heart. Thanking yourself for all of your effort and all of your ease, letting your mind trust your heart and letting your heart trust your mind. And thank you so much for letting me lead you in class today. Thanks, guys. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments or requests or concerns or anything.